Hello everyone. In this video, I'll be ranking what I consider to be the top 5 albums of German power metal band Edguy. Now this isn't an artist bio video, so I won't go into too much detail about the band themselves or their story, but just to summarize, Edguy is a power metal band from Fulda, Germany that originally formed in 1992 and went on hiatus in 2020. Their music sounds like what you would get if you mixed Iron Maiden with Halloween and took the grandiosity up just one step further. Now, in the near 30 years that they were active as a band, they've released a total of 11 albums, initially starting as a full-blown power metal band and gradually evolving into something more akin to a hard rock outfit. So, today I wanted to rate what I consider to be, in my opinion, the 5 best albums of their nearly 3-decade career. So without further ado, let's get started. Number 5. Hellfire Club. Released in March of 2004, Hellfire Club is Edguy's 6th album, and sort of a transition one at that. Now this album mostly sticks to the classic Edguy sound, but on this specific project there are touches of hard rock elements sprinkled throughout. Now not as much as their later efforts, but it's definitely in there. I'd say about half hard rock and half power metal infused with hard rock. Nevertheless, it's a pretty good album. Out of the 12 songs, I really liked 6 of them. The other half, I don't want to say they're bad, but it's just not my personal taste, at least for this band, in my opinion. But for those of you who take a liking to hard rock, maybe you'll enjoy them, so you decide that for yourself. Still, I would consider this good enough out of their entire discography to place it at number 5 spot. Standout tracks include Mysteria, We Don't Need a Hero, Rise of the Morning Glory, and Laboratory Love Machine. The last two contain sort of tongue-in-cheek humor that prove the band can be lighthearted when they want to. Number 4. Vainglory Opera. Released in January of 1998, this is the band's 2nd full-length album, and was actually the first album that I heard from them. I liked it so much that I became a fan then and there. Now, this is when the band were really at the top of their game. I remember about 12 years ago when I started listening to their entire discography, I was reading an interview where lead singer Tobias Sammet described ambushing guitar mastermind Timo Tolkki of Finnish power metal band Stratovarius and pleaded with him to produce this album for them. He waited at his hotel for him to get back from the gig and everything. He was serious about getting Tolkki to work on this. And he agreed and did all of the mixing and a majority of the production for what became the Vainglory Opera album. And yeah, this album is mixed really, really well. Everything sounds crisp and clear. Each instrument is audible in the mix, with the thunderous double bass drums driving everything forward, and the heavy melodic guitar is right up there in the forefront of everything. Even Hansi Kirsch, singer of legendary German thrash power metal band Blind Guardian, features on one of the songs. Great melodies, strong songwriting, and excellent performances, especially from Tobias Sammet, along with the amazing production and engineering, make this one of the band's greatest albums and one of the best power metal albums of all time. Standout songs include Until We Rise Again, How Many Miles, Scarlet Rose, No More Foolin', and Fairy Tale. But pretty much every song on here is golden. Also, there's a bonus song called But Here I Am that's really good, but it's only available on the Japanese edition of the album. I wish it was part of the main track list. It always reminds me of a similar song by German power metal band Halloween called Rise and Fall. But Halloween were always a huge influence for this band, so I'm not too surprised by the similarities. Number 3. The Savage Poetry. Originally released in 1995, this album doubles as both the band's debut album as well as their original demo, and was recorded while they were still in high school, with most of the band members being about 17 to 18 years old at the time of recording. Now this album is what got them their record deal, and 5 years later, in June of 2000, they would re-record the entire album with much better production and engineering. Now, I'm very much of the opinion that artists should not go back and re-record old material unless they have a very good reason to do so, because more often than not, they end up butchering the feel of the original compositions. For example, just look at the In Flames album Clayman and their 2022 re-recording of that compared to the 2002 version. It sounds like absolute fucking shit compared to the original. I don't care what anyone says, it should have stayed as it was. But, in very rare situations, if all the stars align, you can end up with an improved version of the original without losing that original feel. And that's absolutely the case with the Savage Poetry album. Now, initially, I heard the original version when I was first discovering the band, as I had downloaded their entire discography from a torrent, and it only had that original 95 version on it. It wouldn't be until 2 years later when I discovered the re-recorded version on YouTube, and as unique sounding as the original is, the re-recorded version is light years ahead in terms of improvement. The production is much cleaner, but not over-compressed. Everything sounds heavy, with all the instruments audible in the mix, and Tobias' voice is in top shape. Seeing this was released 1 year before the Mandrake album and is often cited as the band's fourth official album. But semantics aside, the songs on here are very well written and memorable, and the updated album artwork is beautiful and perfectly captures the given title. Seeing that the re-recorded versions go largely unchanged from the original in terms of lyrics and song structure, it's really, really impressive that these guys were able to write such good damn songs while still being in high school. Standout tracks include Keys to My Fate, Misguiding Your Life, Frozen Candle, Power and Majesty, and Roses to No One. Number 2. Mandrake. Released in September 2001, Mandrake is a solid as hell album. It was the last one that the band released on AFM Records before moving to Nuclear Blast Records for future projects. Everyone is at the top of their game here. Great songwriting and performances, and very memorable songs. The only issue I really had with this album are the song The Pharaoh. Could have been cut down a bit from its 10-minute runtime, and the following song, Wash Away the Poison, was kinda bland. But otherwise, this is one of Edguy's very best albums. Standout songs are Golden Dawn, which, in my opinion, takes a lot of influence from Halloween's classic Eagle Fly Free, Tears of a Mandrake, Falling Angels, Save Us Now, All the Clowns, and of my favorite songs from the band's entire catalog, Nailed to the Wheel. And number 1, Theater of Salvation. Released in January of 1999, this, in my opinion, is Edguy's most grandiose, powerful, and heavy album of their entire career. Tobias' sense of melody is uncanny. It's really like taking the best parts of Iron Maiden, Halloween, mixing them together, and then cranking it up to fucking 10. The band pulls no punches here. Every song is catchy and heavily melodic, with a blistering speed driving everything forward. Underneath Samet's soaring operatic vocals. Getting a little excited talking about this here, forgive me. In my opinion, every song on here is a 10 out of 10, and this would be my recommended starting point for anyone who wants to familiarize themselves with the band's music or with the genre in general, as this is definitely one of the greatest classic power metal albums of all time. Hands down, no debate about it. Standout songs include Babylon, Arrows Fly, Falling Down, Wake Up the King, and another one of my absolute favorite songs from these guys, and probably my favorite song of them ever in their whole career, The Unbeliever. A real thrashy power metal song there. I love that one. And that, everyone, is my list of what I would consider to be the top 5 best Edguy albums of their discography. The number 5 slot wasn't hard to select. I knew that was always going to be Hellfire Club. It was actually the other 4 spots that were more difficult to decide, because those albums are damn near identical in quality to one another. So I listened to all 4 of those albums like 3 times each over the period of a week so that I could really have some good time to sit with the music and sort everything out. And I feel pretty confident about where the final placements have landed. And that's all for today, folks. I hope you all enjoyed this video, and I hope this encourages some of you who've never heard of this band before to check them out. You never know, you might like something you never thought you would if you just broaden your horizons a bit. Now, if you're a current fan of the band and would like to share, please let me know in the comments below what your top 5 Edguy albums are. Is your list made up more of their later hard and progressive rock albums, or closer to my list? Or maybe somewhere in between? I'm curious to know. Of course, if you like this kind of content, I kindly ask that you leave a like and subscribe to the channel, hit the bell to be notified of all new releases, and share this video with anyone you think may be interested. Until next time, everyone, be safe, take care of yourselves, and each other.